Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. My name is Becca and this is my channel where I talk about all the houseplant things. And today we are doing a video from a series that I have not done in a really long time, and that is my favorites. So today I'm going to chat with you through my February favorites, and it just felt like it's been a really long time since I've done one of these. I think the last one was October, and I've had so much time over the last couple of months to just think about my plants and like which ones are really lighting me up right now, which ones are really exciting, and what plant products have been really cool lately. So that's pretty much how these videos go, and we're gonna get right into it. Okay, so we're gonna start with a plant, and that is my Philodendron Tournam. This plant has been catching my eye lately for obvious reasons. I mean, take a look at it. It is so cool. It has just the coolest leaves. I'm almost tempted to call these fronds even, because they just look like a freaking palm tree. And it's giving me all of the tropical vibes that I need right now to get through this last part of winter and before we enter spring. I'm so excited for spring. I'm always excited for spring, but I feel like this spring just feels like extra special for some reason. So anyway, I'm just like loving this leaf shape. I think that it is so cool. It's such a statement plant. I always say that in your collection, you should have plants that fill up green space and then plants that make a statement. This is definitely a plant that will stand out among the rest and just like make your collection look so unique and cool. And like, I don't know, I just love the vibe of this plant. I love its growth habit too. Eventually I probably will put it on some sort of support so that it can stay upright, growing upright. But I've only ever had this leaf come out in my care, and I've had this since probably October, I think. So hopefully we will have some new growth come in this spring and summer, because I'm just really excited to see what else this plant will do. It's just so lovely. Okay, the next item is a plant product, and these are my handles for my Millsbo greenhouse cabinet. And I showcased these in my greenhouse like makeover video, but I really wanted to show them here too, just in case you didn't see them or you wanted like an update on how I'm feeling about them after I've had them for a couple of weeks. And I have to say that these have been the most wonderful addition to my cabinet. Like if I did nothing else, I'm glad that I did this. You know what I mean? Like I could have not gotten new shelves and new, I think it was just shelves. Oh yeah, new pegboard and things like that. But like if I didn't get this, I would have been really sad, like now knowing like how beautiful it is. This is a 3D printed Anthurium clarinervium, and basically you just slide it onto the existing handles of your shelf, and it comes with a spacer as well to like hold it in place so that the grip is a little bit tighter. And at first I went and I did not put the spacers on, and they kind of like slipped off if I pulled in the wrong angle, but now that I have the spacers on, they're not moving at all. So yeah, I just really love this. They're 3D printed again, so they have a little bit of like a iridescent texture to them. I just thought they were really cool. I got this off of Etsy. Of course, I'll have it linked down below if you're interested. And they come in, there's a bunch of different leaf shapes from this shop and a bunch of different colors. So I wanted bronze because I wanted something that would be not like blend in, but also be a little bit more muted. And I also tend to just like bronzy colors in general. So anyway, that's why I went with bronze, but you can get it in like a gold, I think probably green, like, you know, a bunch of different colors. I'll have it linked down below if you want to look into it. But yeah, if you wanted to like just spice up your cabinet, this is a really great way to do it. They're so beautiful, and it looks exactly like a clarinervium. Like I am thrilled about this purchase. Next on my list for plants is my watermelon Dashidia, or my Dashidia ovata. And it has that name because it kind of looks a little bit like a watermelon, like the leaves take on a little bit of a stripy texture, or not texture, but like stripy look, as you can see. And the new growth comes in a little bit of like a darker red color, which is really cool. I do believe that this plant can get sun stressed too, similar to Hoya. So Dashidia and Hoya are related. They're kind of similar in their like blooms and things like that. This one has been blooming for me for a really long time. Let me show you this bloom. So there's the bloom, and you can see how long that like bloom piece is. So it just is continuously blooming for me all the time. And there's another one up here. It's really cool. The blooms are rather unremarkable, I'll admit, but it is still cool to have a plant that's like blooming in my collection. It feels really cool. And I just love the way that these leaves have started to cascade down this pot. And when I first got it, we had a little bit of growing pains together. They were like a freshly rooted plant. I believe when I got this in Indianapolis, they told me that they had just gotten them in and they had just put them out on the shelf because they were showing like, you know, that they were going to be fine. So anyway, I had a little bit of a struggle with it at first because it was losing like a lot up here. So it was a lot fuller when I bought it, but it's filled out pretty nicely and we have some new growth coming in like all the time. And it's just really cool to see a plant struggle a little bit and then you overcome it together. I know it's a little cheesy, but it is so cool to see that happen. I feel like it makes my bond with my plants so much stronger when we kind of go through something together, because I feel like I'm a little bit more emotionally invested in the plant. Because if the plant shows me that it's like struggling and I didn't really care about it to begin with, I'm like so much less inclined to fix it or like help it or something. But you know, when that happens and I'm like, no, we need to fix it, we need to do something, I don't know, it just like deepens my bond with the plant. And as you guys know, I have like, I definitely over personify my plants sometimes, which can be a good and a bad thing, but a lot of the time it is a good thing for me because it keeps me connected with them and like makes me want to care for them. And yeah, in this case, it's just been really cool to watch her like overcome adversity. Okay, I think I'm gonna talk about some pots next. I got some Anthurium from Ecuagenera a couple weeks ago, and I realized that I wanted to have a plastic or ceramic pot for them because Anthurium just like, I don't know, in my collection, they haven't done very well in terracotta. So I wouldn't suggest putting them in terracotta, but that's based off of my personal experience. If yours are in terracotta and they're great, don't change a thing. But for me, I've been slowly transitioning them out of terracotta and they've been so much happier in ceramic. And so I was looking around because I bought like 5 in new Anthurium, or maybe it was 4 or 6, or I don't know. It was a lot. I think 5 is actually the accurate number. Anyway, I was looking for pots for them and I just wasn't finding things that I was super satisfied with. So I was looking at Walmart, which is like a pretty common spot for me to look for like ceramic pots. I find the pricing to be really nice. And just with it not being like spring and summer yet, there's just not a lot of options out there. So I took to Etsy, which is another place that I look for pottery because, you know, you can support like a person, a small business. And so I found this pot and 2 others that I'll show you, but these are actually 3D printed. So I'm kind of on like a 3D printing grind right now. I didn't even realize that until I have 2 3D printed objects in here right now. They were pretty like fairly priced. I think it was maybe like $30-ish for a 6-inch pot with a saucer. And the saucers are really cool with these because they sort of just like fit in and you can't really tell that there's a saucer. And I really like that, especially for the greenhouse cabinet, which is where these plants are going to be living, because I'm already like running out of real estate on the little shelf thing. So if I can have a really sleek little saucer where it isn't taking up a lot of space, like in addition to the pot itself, I really like that. And since it's 3D printed, I was able to get like a bunch of fun designs. So I'm gonna show you the other ones. So this is really cool. I've seen like actual, you know, pottery makers make something like this, which is really awesome. I actually have one. I think it's from Yum Yum Ceramics, and it has a pretty similar look to this. But look at this, the saucer, and it just fits right over. I just love that it is like so seamless. It looks like there isn't a saucer. I think that's so cool. And also the bottom of these, like look at all those drainage holes. I just think that's really nice. It makes me like happy to know that the plant will never, like the drainage hole will never get clogged. It just, I don't know, I like that. I think that's really nice. And I think that would be kind of hard to achieve in like a ceramic pot because it might be kind of a nightmare when it comes to firing it. So it's kind of cool that they can do that with a 3D printing thing. And then this one is easily my favorite. Let me get the saucer attached. Look at that. It has just the coolest texture. I love it so much. The saucer again blends right in. It's so cool. I love these pots. So I, of course, haven't planted anything in them yet, but hopefully in the next couple of days I will. So I'll have some updates for you on how this went. Maybe I'll do that today. I'm also filming a day in the life video while I'm filming this video. So if you want to see like, I don't know, what my day-to-day life is working this job and like taking care of my plants all day, go check that one out. I might have repotted this like plants into these. We will see. Okay, next up, I want to talk about this bulb garden that I got from Trader Joe's. So first of all, I don't have a Trader Joe's local to me, so I had a friend visiting and she was flying out of St. Louis, and so I was able to go up there to pick her up and drop her off at the airport. And anytime I'm in St. Louis, I'm like, I have to go to Trader Joe's because I used to love Trader Joe's when I lived in Tucson. It was like my favorite grocery store, and I'm so bummed we don't have one here. Ugh. I so wish we did. Anyway, they always have really beautiful bulb gardens, and in past years I was like, oh, I'm not gonna buy that. Like I could easily just like plant my own bulbs and make my own bulb garden, and I never did it. Like I did grow bulbs, but like they just never turned out to look like this. And I just think that this is so strikingly beautiful. And like these colors right now are giving me life. The hyacinth in the front just bloomed today, and it just smells so good. It's almost like too strong. And the daffodils actually sprouted first, and then the tulips second. So it's just been kind of cool to watch it like over the last couple of days, because I've had it for probably like 5 days. So when I bought it, it didn't have any of this like sprouted. And so just in those 5 days, like it has really come into its own. So I just wanted to point this out. If you have a Trader Joe's near you, or if your local garden centers sell these, like you could easily buy this and enjoy it on your countertop this early spring. And then, you know, when they die off, you can plant them outside like later in the fall, wherever, if you live in a place where bulbs grow. I just think it's a really great way to have them and enjoy them, but it's like a cut flower thing that lasts forever. Because I could easily just replant these outside later and they would grow and it would be great. So anyway, love these. Okay, so I want to talk about fake plants just for a moment, because I've been seeing a lot of fake plants out there. And honestly, I feel like the fake plants are getting better and better, which is a great thing. I'm really happy about it, because there's not always going to be a place where you can responsibly put a plant in your home. And if you still want greenery there, but you don't want to have to worry about a grow light, let's talk about a fake plant. As I'm holding this up on the screen, it literally looks real. It looks like the most lush, beautiful Scindapsus pictus that exists. So this one is from Target, and of course when you get like super up close, it's a little more obvious that it's fake, but I feel like this is a really good plant to make fake. And it came in a cute pot too, a pot that is like an appropriate size for a plant this big, right? Because something that I notice is that a lot of the time fake plants will have like the tiniest little pot, and it just doesn't make sense like scale wise. So I don't know, I have this in my bathroom right now, in my windowless bathroom, and I'm really happy with it. I think it looks so good. And if you're in the market for a fake plant, definitely check out Target. They have some really good ones lately. And Michael's has some pretty good ones too. I saw an alocasia at Michael's and I was like, that looks real. Probably the only alocasia that I will not kill. But in my house, we know that majority of my plants are real. So this one right here is one of my new plants that I got from Equigenera. This is a Anthurium falcatum equigenera, or equigenera. And it is absolutely a stunner. This is probably my favorite plant from that haul, just because this leaf shape is out of this world. Like, I love an alien leaf. I'm just gonna be honest. I love leaves that just look kind of weird. And this is definitely one of those plants. This one was actually discovered by Equigenera. That is why they have their name at the end of the plant. I just wanted to show this new leaf that it was like this big when I bought it, like literally. And then it's just really come into its own since I've had it, and it's been so exciting to watch. Like, I just am so excited to see this plant continue growing, and it's one of those Anthurium that I know is gonna do just fine in my collection, because Anthurium, if they're like the velvety variety, they can be a little bit more tough on you, but this more like rubbery monstera leaf texture Anthurium are very simple in their care, and I find that they need a lot less from you as far as humidity goes. So definitely one to look out for if you didn't know about it at all. I'm sure that they sell it online or whatever if you're interested in it, but it's just really cool and I'm super happy that I have it. Okay, speaking of easy Anthurium, I wanted to just take a moment to chat about my King Anthurium, because this plant was my first Anthurium and I still have it and it's still very beautiful. I will admit some of the leaves look a little worse for wear, but you know, to be expected with age and my personal neglect over the winter. But look at this leaf. Let's focus on this one, okay? This new leaf came out so many months ago and it still looks so glossy and new. Like, look at how glossy that looks. It's absolutely to die for gorgeous. This was the new leaf that came out before that one. Let me see if I can bring it over. There we go. And this one is even still kind of glossy. It's just so cool that they keep that shine for so long, because as we know, when new plants like emerge, like when a new leaf emerges, it is like very glossy and beautiful for a super short amount of time, and then it kind of like dulls into the mature leaf, which isn't a bad thing at all, because the mature leaf is very beautiful, but it's just nice to see this like shiny new leaf in contrast with the other ones. That these are like the original leaves that came with the plant, so I am assuming that they're probably going to die off eventually. They're kind of getting started, but I think that this season it's going to put out, I'm expecting at least 2 more leaves, so they will be replaced. And I'm just really happy to have like these big leaves. Like, look how big that leaf is. It's so big and beautiful, and like I love the ripples. So if you are looking into getting Anthurium, if my Anthurium video kind of like sparked your interest, I would really suggest looking into the King Anthurium. Again, it was my first Anthurium. I got it when I had no idea what I was doing, when I was living in Arizona, just doing everything wrong probably. And it has stuck with me and it's been really, really happy. So I really highly suggest it. And this one I have in terracotta, and it's been fine, so I'm gonna keep it in terracotta. I am curious how it would do in something else, but again, this one is one of the more forgiving Anthurium. So whenever the leaves just feel kind of soft, that's when I give it a water, because it does tend to be kind of like a crisp plant. So like if when you first buy lettuce, you know how it's really crisp? It doesn't need water yet, but when your lettuce gets a little limp, you kind of want to throw it out. That's when you know that you need to water your plant. So anyway, this one is absolutely lovely and I highly suggest it. Okay, so as we enter spring season, we are also entering seed starting season. So if you garden, it's probably gonna be time in the next couple of weeks to start at least some of your seeds. Now, what I've always done for my seed storage is I have this little picture organizer. I think that, I originally got it off of Amazon, but they have them at Michael's if you wanna just like pop in there and get them. They're kind of in like the storage box section of Michael's, but it's a container, right, that has a bunch of different additional containers, like these little things, and you can open them up and your seed things will fit in here perfectly. So I have like different categories of my seeds, like squash, like cucumbers, pumpkins, carrots, flowers, etc. And it's empty right now because I'm going through and like getting rid of ones that I don't want and sort of like replenishing the ones that I've used a lot, because this will be my 3rd season gardening. And some of the seeds I've used for my first 2 years, and I'm gonna check and see if there even are any left to go another year, and then replace the ones that I was like, oh, I didn't really like the way that tomato grew, so we're gonna try a different variety this year. You know, the works. But what I really wanted to share with you is the Farmer's Almanac actually has a seed starting calendar for you based on your zip code and your zone. So what you do is you go onto that page of their website, which I'll have it linked in the description box below for anybody interested. But honestly, like I never really knew, like it was always kind of annoying to do the math, like because the seed packets will say start 8 to 10 weeks before your last frost, or usually it's like 6 to 8 weeks before your last frost. And it's like, okay, I know what day my last frost is, but then I have to do all this math to figure out what those dates are, like what's the date range on that. And so Farmer's Almanac just does it for you. And I saw somebody else using this resource. I don't even remember who it was. I wish I did, but it changed my life because it just automatically told me this is the date range to start these seeds. And so some of my seeds I'm already kind of behind. I haven't started them yet, but I am just needing to do a few more things in the greenhouse before I can start seeds in there. But I will be starting all my seeds in there. And so that's kind of motivating me to finish that up. But yeah, there's really only a few things left that need to be done in there to like ensure that it'll be a safe environment for the seeds to grow. And honestly, I could probably put them out there already just like on a heat mat or something, and they would probably be fine. So I'm kind of considering doing that. I did buy finally my temperature gauge out there so I can see how low it dips in there at night to see if maybe it holds on to the heat even a little bit through the night. I don't really know. But anyway, point is, this was a really great resource for me for planning out my seed schedule this year. So I'll have that link down below if you're interested in checking that out. And the last plant that I want to chat about is my Variegated Syngonium. So this plant has really, we've been on a journey together. This is one of those plants where, like when I talked about, you know, when a plant takes me on a journey, it makes me love it and appreciate it so much more. So this one is just absolutely insanely beautiful. I have grown it really tall. I've chopped it completely off. I've propagated every single piece off of this plant. And now we're back with this beautiful lush growth. And as you can see, it is growing towards the light. Like a lot. So our next journey together is going to be re-staking her back up. So I think I'm going to find a little trellis that I can put it on, because these plants I don't find are like super great for a moss pole, because unless you only have like a couple of different pieces, I have a lot of different pieces, so it's a lot of branches, and I just feel like it would be a lot for a moss pole, so, or even like a plank. So I'm gonna find a trellis of some sort, and hopefully one that's kind of like tall and skinny, so that I can just sort of spread them out a little bit more, not necessarily one that's like a V shape. I love that she looks so bushy, but I also don't want her to strain too hard searching for the light that she like ends up snapping a branch or something, because some of these I'm like, that's a hard 90-degree angle, and I just don't know how this plant is like doing okay. But you know what, plants are resilient. So anyway, I love how each leaf comes out unique, and like some leaves will come out completely solid green like this one, and some will come out looking like this, and it's just really cool to see what it will do. And I want to say that just because a plant puts out, like a plant like this puts out a solid green leaf, that branch is not like ruined, because as you can see on this one, it put out this solid green leaf, and the next leaf it's putting out, I don't think you'll be able to see it, you'll have to trust me, but it is very, very variegated. Okay, you can see it's kind of not completely green. So yeah, I just really love that I can have like the dark green and then like the lighter white on it. It just makes the plant like way more balanced, and I think that it makes the white on the plant last longer when you have a lot of balance in your leaves. Like some of these have just a little bit of variegation, and yeah, it's really doing the legwork to keep up the variegation and keep it happy, because not every leaf can look like this, you know what I mean? But I do love when we get a half moon. I just spotted a half moon. This one's kind of like half moon vibes. It's so cool. I mean, I could spend like all day looking at all of the leaves on this plant, because they are all so unique, and they just get better and better with every single new leaf that comes out. So this is definitely a plant that, like, if you can, I would definitely splurge on getting like a good sized one, because they're so rewarding and they're very easy to propagate too. Okay friends, so that is the epic return of my February favorites, or just my favorites videos in general. I think I'm gonna get back to doing these every month, just because it is so fun to showcase my plants and highlight different things. It really gives me an opportunity to look at my collection and think like, who's a standout candidate? You know what I mean? I really, really appreciate you guys watching and hanging out with me. Let me know what your February favorites are. I would love to see your list if you have one. And yeah, subscribe if you're not already. We are on the road to 100,000 before my birthday, March 31st. Fingers crossed that that can happen for us. But yeah, thank you so much for being a part of my plant family here, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.